Well, of course, one of the states driving that growth is Karnataka, which has the third highest growth rate in India, currently at 6%. And also, Bengaluru is now the highest rate of growth amongst India's capitals, far beyond both Mumbai and Delhi. Well, joining me now is the state's Deputy Chief Minister. Mr. Ashwath Narayan, you just heard the figures and of Bengaluru and Karnataka. Why do you think this has happened after Karnataka being hailed as the initial success story in the early months? Now suddenly in July, at this time, it really is a huge worry.
Basically, there are various reasons because of many factors. One is because of the migration of the people from various states, from the very largely infected states. People migrated in a very big numbers to Karnataka and from different countries. Along with that, the many other factors, the protection and prevention among the people also. Some of the people, neglected. That has also given to this, increase in the numbers. So, and along with all this thing, basically, this is a contact disease. It spreads very rapidly, and it has been spreading in the state of Karnataka, and it has spiked. And we are trying our best to ensure the spread of the disease is well controlled, and we are trying to flatten the curve to best of our ability and capability. And we are not neglected any given moment. There was no complacency, and we are not trying to neglect any given time. We are trying to do our best. Along with all these challenges, somehow the infection has increased in the numbers in our state, but we are ensuring to do our best in this situation.
And sir, if there was, in fact, Bengaluru opened its lockdown today. First, there had been said that there will be no lockdown in Bengaluru. Then a lockdown was announced for a week. And yesterday, the Chief Minister said there will be no more lockdowns in Karnataka or Bengaluru. This even as cases are spiking once again. Why this confusion on the state's lockdown policy?
No. When we went for a lockdown, we were very clear. Actually, the government was not for a lockdown. Since persistent demands from various sectors, and there was a spiking of cases, sudden spike of the cases, and there was a lot of panic among the people, even among many people. So then the government decided, since there was a demand from even the opposition, that we should need to go for a lockdown. The government, Honorable Chief Minister, announced a lockdown for only 1 week. Even before announcing a lockdown, we are very clear this lockdown is only for a period of only 1 week, and after that they will be completely unlocking. In the future, there will not be any lockdowns, because along with the livelihood also is very, very important. You know very well, many people daily earning, it will be completely evicted, they will be devastated, and they can't sustain. In a bigger cities, it is very difficult without earning every day to make a livelihood. It's difficult. So, keeping in mind the challenges and the problem faced by all the entrepreneurs, industry people, we wanted to take both along with saving lives and livelihood, because both are important. We are ensuring both are taken addressed.
No, I take that point, but given the fact that the 1 week lockdown doesn't seem to have achieved what was wanted to try and bring down the infection rate in any way, cases are still rising. What is Bengaluru learning now from maybe cities like Mumbai and Delhi, where they have managed to bring down cases after initially seeing a sharp spike?
We are also trying to understand what kind of measures were taken when there was a spike in the number of cases in Delhi and Mumbai, how they handled the situation, how best they were able to manage the situation. We are taking the input. We have been, been in touch with those cities, and we are trying to take their good practices, integrate in our system also, and we are trying our best, and we are ensuring in the state of Karnataka and Bengaluru for the effective containment of the COVID-19 as well as the effective management. We have a better resource in comparison with any other states. Availability of number of beds or resource or doctors or facility, we are well placed and better placed, and we are making our use of the technology or the home care. Even home care is effectively been well received and well accepted. In many of the infected people are going for home care. Along with the home care in a big way, if you see the numbers, for the COVID care, what we are organizing in comparison with any other state, with the occupancy or the facility. We are doing it in a very big way in the state of Karnataka, across the state and in the Bangalore city also, and admission in the hospital admission also, and the treatment line also has been very aggressive, and we are now planning to provide remdesivir the medicine to all the patients. Whoever is admitted even in private hospital, it will be provided at the cost of the government.
No, that's an important
And
decision
along
to give
with the
remdesivir.
treatment
Yes.
line also has been scaled up to ensure that the case doesn't precipitate any further.
No, but sir, these are welcome decisions, but the big worry, and this has been complaints coming from across Bengaluru, has been on ambulances arriving 5 hours late, and also shortage of ventilators, ICU beds, ICU doctors. There's been a controversy over PM Cares ventilators being used because doctors have said that this is not the ventilators that they need for corona patients. You've been attacked by the opposition. So the situation in Bengaluru in terms of intensive care is worrying at the moment.
Basically, more so, it is we are trying to give the oxygen therapy, non-invasive oxygen therapy. That has been very, very good treatment for the most of the patients. See, getting them, the management of the patients are very important. In this direction, we are now adding more than 850 ventilators to the existing system, for the only exclusively for the COVID-19 patients. And down the lane, we are planning to add 1,000 more ventilators. Along with this, we have been adding more than 15,000 oxygen line supply beds have been added, and HFNCs have been procured in a very big way. The procurement of drugs, medicine, we have done in a big way to ensure that the availability of the drugs or the treatment should not be compromised in any way. And we have scaled up the treatment line, and we are ensuring the quality of treatment or the care for our patients are the best in the country and across the world. And as you know very well, the opposition, they are not trying to work in the interest of the people. They are just trying to politicize the entire incident. They have not been showing any care or concern with regard to the people. They should have worked on the ground level for the safety or for the providing the medical services. They are just trying to create chaos, fear among the bureaucrats, so that nobody should work, and only just they're just making a false allegation, baseless allegations, without having any of the charges, with substantial no charges. They're just trying to make a case without any basis.
Right, and
this
of course,
is the time. I think, you see, any government is accountable. You know very well, nobody can get away from accountability.
of course.
Do you think this is the time, without any proper documents or any of the information, just making a false allegation, is it worth it? Do you think anybody can get away, madam? You know very well, in the assembly always they can raise this issue when it is been placed in the house. But is it the time to do all these things? I don't understand. They should have been part of the solution than creating a problem. They are just trying to create problem. If you see anywhere, they are not trying to be a part of the solution. If you look at their mindset is only just create fear among the people, create confusion, just
Mr. Narayan, you did have that situation of 8 people,
so that nobody will work.
Right,
Create fear among all the officers so that nothing should go forward. This is the kind of strategy they are having in mind, and this is what they have been doing.
You did have that situation, Mr. Narayan, of 8 people dying in an ESI hospital, which Priyank Kharge tweeted about, if you're referring to him. But also, sir, of course, you're also the Minister of Higher Education. We know that Karnataka's common entrance tests exams are going to be held at this time. They're going to be lakhs of students. We recently had Karnataka state exams as well. Do you think it's right to have exams at this time when cases are rising in Karnataka every day?
As per the UGC guidelines, they've allowed us to, as one calendar of event across the country. We are planning to start the calendar of year for the new year from the September month. We are planning to start the academic year for the existing batch and as well as the fresh batch. We are planning the academic year from the September 2020. And the main reason for conduction of the CET, probably I feel the numbers now are pretty better than later. There will be chances of spreading more numbers also. There will be chances. There will be no month which is free of the COVID-19. Instead of that, whatever dates have been already freezed, have been finalized, we want to go ahead with that, conduct the exam, and so that the academic activity, engagement of children and students should happen. And I think they should not lose out any time. It is in their own interest to get into the academic activity, and exams to be conducted in time, which we have announced months before. Already we had postponed this exam. I think further postponement, already postponement has happened for nearly 3 months. I think further postponement will not be in their interest. So we are planning to conduct the exams and complete the process, and we can start the academic year from the September month.
Right, Mr. Ashwath Narayan, I wish you all the best in the challenges that Karnataka and Bengaluru are facing now.